Stephen Gostkowski will kick off. New England won the toss and, as usual, elected to defer. Akeem Hunt will drop back deep, a rookie free agent out of Purdue with a lot of speed. The roof closed at NRG Stadium, and off we go on Sunday Night Football with a touchback. So the Texans will start from the 20-yard line, and let's take a look at their offense.
Brian Hoyer, Michigan State Spartans.
Alfred Blue, LSU.
DeAndre Hopkins, Clemson University.
Nate Washington, the U, Tiffin University.
CJ Fedorowicz, University of Iowa.
Ryan Griffin, UConn.
Dwayne Brown, Virginia Tech.
Xavier Suafilo, UCLA.
Ben Jones, Georgia.
Brandon Brooks, Miami University.
Derek Newton, Arkansas State.
Texans have 4 guys who can carry the ball tonight. So with Alfred Blue announced as the original starter, they actually begin with Chris Polk, who had a good day last week in a loss to Buffalo, and Polk starts with a 4-yard pickup up to the 24-yard line. So Brian Hoyer, he's been around for a while, 7th year in the league, played his college ball at Michigan State, was the understudy to Brady for 3 years. Then he went to Pittsburgh for a cup of coffee, to Arizona for a while, on to Cleveland. He was the starter one year. They drafted Manziel. That was the end of a situation for him there. And right now in his 2nd year with the Texans. He started the year as the starter, got benched, but won the job back in week 5. And this is Chris Polk going nowhere, stopped behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 2. Gerard Mayo is right there for the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
That's what brains will do for you right there. Gerard Mayo just knew what was coming based on the fact that guards were pulling out to that side, and he shot in behind it and made a play. A guy that's led this team in tackles 5 different times, has been the captain almost since he's gotten here.
Akeem Hunt is now in the backfield. They have Blue, they have Jonathan Grimes. You saw Polk already. And now we'll have a chance to take a look at Hunt. And he repositions Hunt off to his right side. And on 3rd down and 8, Hoyer hit before he can get it away and is lucky to hold on to the ball as Dominique Easley comes in to make the sack.
You know, Dominic Easley is a guy right here that they kind of cut loose. They really like to give him pass rush situations. He's the one guy sort of interior-wise that has been able to get consistent pressure all year long, and lucky for Brian Hoyer, able to hold on to that football.
Very. Shane Leckler to do the punting. Keyshawn Martin is back to receive. Fields at the 31-yard line. And brings it back into Houston territory, and we have a flag down at the 44-yard line.
If the Patriots make more mistakes on special teams tonight, we might see Belichick shoot through this roof.
Yeah, they gave up 2 touchdowns, a blocked punt last week, and also a punt return by Darren Sproles.
During the return, illegal block in the back. 52 of the return team. It's a 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Almost always the case on a return when you see a flag. Jeff Triplett is the referee. Eric Martin with the penalty. Tom Brady on his way. He's right on a pace right now to throw for about 5,200 yards. It would be his 2nd 5,000-yard season if he eclipses that figure. And of course, he will keep his eye on number 99. He told us last night, I said to him, is there any defensive lineman in the league you look at before you look at where the linebackers are? He said he's the only one. From the 34-yard line. And Gronkowski in there on the right side. And they begin with LeGarrette Blount for a gain of a couple up to the 36. 2nd down and 8 for the Patriots.
You know, if you're J.J. Watt, you just get used to it. You're going to get hit from every different angle. You just never know where it's going to be. This time, Asante Cleveland comes back across and is going to take out his knees from that side. It's literally like sort of crossing 5th Avenue, I guess, in New York. Even though you know which way the cars are coming, you still have to kind of keep your head on a swivel, and that's the way the season's gone for J.J. Watt.
No question. 2nd down and 8. And now an inside handoff to Blount. And he gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Vince Wilfork, big number 75, and I mean big. 11 years at New England, and then came over here in his 1st year as a Texan.
Welcome to the big leagues here, Trey Jackson. He just got drilled back by Vince Wilfork. Now, I'm not sure what Vince is weighing these days, but he has to be one of the most athletic big men that has ever played in the game. And you knew in this one, he was going to be ready to roll.
Would you bet it starts with a 4 or a 3?
I'm not saying a word.
3rd down and 10. Brady. Good protection. Has a lot of time. Deep downfield and swatted away at the last moment by Jonathan Joseph. Intended for Brandon LaFell. Good play by Joseph. Having another good year. He's been around for a long time. 10 years in the league. Used to play with the Bengals.
No question about it. The best cover guy on the Texans defense. A little double move on the outside with LaFell. And Joseph just perfectly placed there to knock that one away. Beautifully done. Big time play for that first drive.
Ryan Allen to punt. Cecil Shorts back to receive it. He backs up and collects it at the 13-yard line. And runs it back 10 yards up to the 23. So each team begins with a 3 and out. 11:23 left in the first quarter. No score. Now from the 24-yard line, Hoyer, play action. And it's a gain of about 6, caught by Chris Polk. And let's take a look at the Patriot D.
Rob Ninkovich, Purdue.
Alan Branch, University of Michigan.
Malcolm Brown, Texas.
Chandler Jones, Syracuse University.
Jonathan Franey, Rutgers.
Jamie Collins, Southern Miss.
Gerard Mayo, Tennessee.
Malcolm Butler, West Alabama University.
Patrick Chung, the Ducks.
Devin McCourty, Rutgers.
Logan Ryan, Rutgers.
Tell you, not a big name, but that Jonathan Freeney has done a great job for this defense this season. So on 2nd down, here's Polk again for a gain of maybe 1.5 out to the 31-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
You know what Belichick told us last night about Freeney? He said he saved us. No question about it. With the injuries that they've had to Dante Hightower and Jamie Collins, he has had to come in and be a regular in the rotation. Really brought in as a special teams player, and all the snaps he's had to take on defense took him away somewhat from the special teams, and then they had the disaster on special teams against the Eagles.
Wildcat, this is Cecil Shorts in the backfield. He takes the handoff, and that is sniffed out perfectly by Rob Ninkovich, who has seen just about everything in his 10 years in the league.
Well, Ninkovich has seen this once or twice. Going to try and fake it here and hold Ninkovich, and then Shorts was going to run with the football, but Ninkovich just too clever for that one.
Much. Leckler for his 2nd punt, so we played over 5 minutes and don't have a first down in the game. And this is fielded at the 27-yard line. Keyshawn Martin with a good run back out to the 47. Brady will start from near midfield, 9.5 to go in a scoreless opening frame. 48-yard line. Brady starts this drive. Play action and a roll to the right and keeps his eyes downfield and launches one across the field, and that is Gronkowski who gets open as the defender fell down. He takes the ball inside the 10 for a 1st and goal. Merciless was covering him, but went down. That's a gain of 45.
One of the problems that you have in this defense is that they have people that were essentially defensive ends in college. Merciless certainly that, and a pass rushing kind of a guy. Now having to drop back, you go, oh, everything's okay. Brady is rolling to the right. Not so much. All the way back across the field, and welcome back, Gronk.
Yeah, I guess that knee is okay. 1st down and goal to the ground with LeGarrette Blunt. Picks up a hard yard to make it 2nd down and goal.
Well, we've seen this in Green Bay before, but we get the big guys back here in the backfield. All these tight ends to some degree were questionable as to whether they were going to play. You had Michael Williams, Scott Chandler, and Rob Gronkowski, all with different varying knee ailments, but all somehow able to play and making a difference here.
Fleming, the tackle, is an eligible receiver, number 71 at 2nd down and goal. Flag is down, and the catch made by Brandon LaFell. For the moment, that's 6 points for New England pending. Funny, they announced the tackle, Fleming, as an eligible receiver, but somebody may have been lined up outside of him.
Illegal formation. Offense. 71 reported eligible, and the wideout covered him up. The 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Yeah, we mentioned that Fleming reported eligible, but there he is on the right side, but a guy covers him up on the outside.
So here he is right in there, and then here's the easy touchdown in behind it to LaFell.
Keyshawn Martin was the guy who lined up outside of him on the line, creating the illegal formation, to the exasperation on the right of Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator.
And as a receiver, you're used to looking in there. If you see an offensive lineman in there, you cover that up. But in this case, he was eligible.
Second down and goal. Brady, another clean pocket again, and this time it's Danny Amendola, grew up here in Houston, who missed a game with a sprained knee but came back last week, almost has his helmet knocked off. Quentin Demps with the tackle. It'll be third down and goal.
It's going to be a tough night tonight for these inside linebackers, Brian Cushing and Bernardrick McKinney. They are not the top end cover guys in the National Football League, and some of the quickest receivers inside for Tom Brady and the Patriots.
That's Gronkowski in motion on third down and goal. James White is in the backfield. Caught 10 passes last week. And Brady to the back of the end zone, caught for a touchdown. So Keyshawn Martin, but a flag is down at the 4-yard line. So LaFell's been into the end zone twice. Let's see if this one counts. The indication is it's against New England. So Triplett will get together with the crew.
Wonder how many touchdowns they're going to have to score to get a touchdown.
Right.
That was some move by Keyshawn Martin. Whew. Coming home for him.
Yeah, coming home. So he was the guy who got penalized on the illegal formation on what would have been LaFell's first touchdown catch.
Fouls on the play. Illegal use of hands to the face. Number 35 of the defense. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 99 of the defense. That penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
So the fouls are on Pleasant and on Watt.
Watch the inside move by Martin. He thinks he's going across. He's working against the rookie Kevin Johnson and then back out. He was a punt return guy here in Houston, and you can see why with that sort of elite quickness.
Here's the personal foul on Watt. So all of the Texans were sure the penalty was against New England, all pointing in that direction. And it winds up as 2 penalties, and there is the personal foul on Brady.
And a good call.
The hit on Brady, creating the personal foul. Gostkowski for the extra point, which he never misses, is good. And New England draws first blood, 7-0 in Houston. Well, old buddies Belichick and Romeo Crennel, who was his defensive coordinator for the first 3 of their Super Bowls. Jonathan and Robert Kraft there, exchanging pleasantries. A lot of former coaches, and of course Vince Wilfork, 11 years in New England and now in his first season with the Texans. So the Texans, and of course Bill O'Brien, who was on the staff there for 5 years, including 2 Super Bowls, both against the Giants. And the Giants, naturally, as you recall, won both of them. And Brady and Belichick, and what a pair they have been. And of course you look at Crennel, the defensive coordinator. Godsey, a former New England assistant, is the offensive coordinator. And Mike Vrabel, a great linebacker for New England, now on the O'Brien staff here. And Vrabel, of course, a guy who would catch a few balls from time to time.
Here's the story.
The old 9-box. Tic-tac-toe. Hoyer under pressure again, and he has to get it away, and does, to Chris Polk. So he avoids the sack, and then Polk gets wrestled down. And the crowd wants a penalty, but they will not get one. It was Sheard who almost got the sack. And then Jamie Collins, who the crowd would like a personal foul called on. Now 2nd down and 1.
What a tremendous play by Hoyer on that one.
Now on the inside handoff, he gives the ball to Polk, and that will be the Texans' initial first down of the game out to the 34-yard line.
Jabal Shear just had him dead to rights. Yeah, let me see where he comes from here. I think he was inside. Yeah, just split him in between, but had Hoyer completely tied up. And not only did he get it out of there, he got it out for a big completion. They needed that too. They were going nowhere on offense.
A little less than 6.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter at the 34 now. And the power formation here, and a shotgun snap, and the handoff goes to Chris Polk. To the 40 he goes. That's a gain of 6. It'll be 2nd and 4.
Sort of an interesting story, isn't it, about Brian Hoyer and how Bill O'Brien found him. It was undrafted, but he spent so much time with him there, he understood completely who this guy was.
And this is wrapped up here. Again, that's Polk. I think I mentioned earlier, second year. It's his first year with the Texans. He was with Cleveland. He was a starter and lost the job there. And it was a battle for the quarterback starting job in training camp this year. It was Hoyer and Ryan Mallett, and Hoyer won the job, but he was yanked on opening day, and then Mallett started the next 4 games, and then he was yanked, and Mallett was eventually released. And now it's Hoyer's team, even though he did miss a game with a concussion sustained in Cincinnati about a month ago. Akeem Hunt is in the backfield. It's 3rd down and 3. He swings it to the outside, and that is caught by Hunt, who has to adjust. A flag is down, makes the catch. Having to spin around for the moment, it would be a 1st down, and we'll get the call from Jeff Triplett momentarily. Well, sort of momentarily. Sort of, kind of. We have set a record for conferences this year, have we not? And the season still has 4 weeks to go.
Yeah.
During the play, personal foul, number 76 of the offense. Unnecessary roughness. Hit a player while he was on the ground. 15 yards, still 3rd down.
And that's their best lineman, the Pro Bowl tackle, Dwayne Brown.
It's a really interesting call for me. Let's see right here. He's going to kind of punch him and almost knock him to the ground. I think this is the foul when he came over and jumped on top of him. But that's sort of a grand old tradition for offensive linemen. I guess you have the right to block him even on the ground as long as the whistle had not blown. Interesting.
Makes it a 3rd down and 18 now. That was Dominic Easley, who he pinned to the turf. Oh, the empty backfield here on 3rd and 18. Play clock all the way down. Hoyer, good pocket, going deep downfield, and getting free is Nate Washington to the 25-yard line. Beats Butler on a 3rd and 18 for 49 yards.
What a great route. A little dig and up, and Butler is going to jump on it. And that's a route that so many times as a receiver, those defensive backs almost get trained for you to go to the 1st down marker, in cut or out cut. That time Butler thought he knew exactly what was coming. They double moved him, took a shot. Brian Hoyer, an excellent deep ball thrower.
Now to the outside, this is Cecil Shorts, 34-yard line. Of course, Malcolm Butler will live forever in New England lore with the interception that saved the Super Bowl victory last year. He's become their #1 corner. Remember last year they had Revis and they had Browner. They both went away, and it's this guy who gets to face normally the #1 receiver, but that time he was on Washington and not Hopkins.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing here tonight. You can see it already that they are allowing DeAndre Hopkins. They're going to cover him with Logan Ryan with help from David McCourty or whoever the safety is on that side.
2nd and 11. Good protection again. Pass is caught here by Jalen Strong to the 19-yard line. Strong is a rookie from Arizona State, drafted in the 3rd round, and I think this guy can be something special.
Yeah, came out in his first game against the Colts and had a couple of touchdown receptions, 53 yards and the Hail Mary, the whole bit. And they say in practice he just does spectacular things. Goes up. He was known in college being able to jump up and make plays. There's George Godsey, the offensive coordinator and play caller for this team. They're excited about what he can do. Matt Patricia on the other side, defensive coordinator, trying to figure out the answers.
Well, they were in the same room at New England a few years back. 3rd down and 5. And Hoyer flings it and jumping it on a pass intended for Cecil Shorts was Leonard Johnson, just recently picked up, had been with Tampa Bay, and makes the play here.
Nicely done. I mean, literally just picked up. Here's a guy that has been on IR down there in Tampa. He played about 400 snaps last year, and they're so desperate at the cornerback position. They have sort of had a revolving door on that, and welcome to New England now.
38-yard attempt coming up for Nick Novak. And right down the middle. So Novak tacks on 3. They make it 37 yards officially, and it's 7-3. Mid-December in Houston, Texas. And with a win tonight, the Texans would be in undisputed possession of first place in the AFC South. Another big one next week, obviously, for them as they go to Indianapolis. Keyshawn Martin runs it back from the goal line out to the 18-yard line. Good coverage there. Brian Peters makes the tackle. 7-3 New England on Sunday Night Football. Massive turnaround for the Texans defensively. Take a look at that. They were 2-5 in their first 7 games, giving up 28 points a game. In the last 5 games where they're 4-1, 13 points a game, and they've allowed per game the fewest yards in the National Football League. So that, of course, has coincided with the fact they turned their whole season around as Brady begins this drive with Blunt. You know, Chris, you look back to that Miami game. What a disaster. I mean, we were down 41-0 at the half against Miami. That was the kind of day you thought everybody would come back and get fired the next day. And then they didn't give up a touchdown over the next 12 quarters, the equivalent of 3 games.
Well, and Bill O'Brien was very smart. Your team's getting blown out. They're embarrassed anyway. He came in halftime and he said, guys, listen to me. We're not going to win this game, right? But let's win the second half, and let's try and use that to build on it. And they did. That's exactly what happened.
And now Blunt gets taken down at the 25-yard line. Brian Cushing is there, and they haven't blown it dead yet, so he keeps on going. It looked like they had him tackled. And Mr. Blunt says that will be a first down, and indeed it will be. So they had him down, and the next thing you know, he stays on his feet and gains 17.
Well, he landed right on top of Brian Cushing.
Sure.
Cushing made the tackle. Watch this, going to land right on his belly, spin him right around, and basically throw him for another 10 yards. Ooh,
almost lost the ball as well.
How about that? It went from a fumble to a tackle to an extra 10 yards.
17 overall on the pickup from the 40-yard line. And there he goes again. Hard-earned 8 yards. So Blunt had been with New England, went to Pittsburgh. They let him go there after Jonas Gray had a huge night against Indianapolis on the Sunday night game last year. But then Gray was late for a meeting. Blunt came back into the lineup. Gray eventually was released in training camp this year, and Blunt is their key back. Of course, it was Dion Lewis who was really doing the job for them, and then Lewis went out a couple of weeks ago for the season with a knee injury. So Blunt is the man. You got a fullback in the game here as well on 2nd down and 2, and a quick toss to Brandon LaFell, and that's a first down in Texan territory to the 48-yard line.
Boy, I tell you, I have seen more formations out of the Patriots in this game, and quite a few out of the Texans as well. They are coming out. Both these teams believe, there's Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, they believe in being as multiple as possible, because most defenses, if you throw a weird formation at them, Al, they'll just check to something fairly straightforward, right? And that's exactly what they'd rather play against.
That takes us to the end of the quarter. New England 7, Houston 3. And Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages.
Waiting all day for Sunday night.
7-3 New England. And a first down to start the second quarter From the 47, that's Brandon Bolden in the backfield with Brady. And Brady going downfield and incomplete. Danny Amendola going high in the air, had it for the moment, couldn't collect it. Kareem Jackson with the coverage.
Well, you'll see what they're doing over here. The double team wall going against J.J. Watt, which means on the other side, Jadeveon Clowney has to win. He at least came through the inside that time of Sebastian Vollmer, got a little pressure. But here's a guy that was the first overall pick. He's going to get his opportunities tonight. He has to win almost by Amendola.
On 2nd and 10, here's Blunt to the 40-yard line. The Garrett Blunt following Michael Williams, gain of 7 yards. 3rd down and 3, and Blunt's already carried the ball 7 times tonight for 38 yards.
Well, obviously the Texans are all hyped up in this game, and Bill Belichick is taking advantage of that fact. He's using a lot of what's called these wham blocks, where the tight ends are coming across the formation. So that time Vince Wilfork shoots up the field, and they just sort of drive him out and go right around him.
James White now in the backfield. Fake to him, pass. That'll be a first down. Keyshawn Martin gets taken out of bounds by Kevin Johnson, the rookie #1 draft choice out of Wake Forest.
So then you get the next step off of that concept, which is you take somebody and run them this way, and now you're not sure, is he going to block or what? Zips underneath him or around him and goes out and catches a pass for the first down. So Clowney thinks he's going to get blocked. Oh, there he goes. First down.
From the 32-yard line. This time an inside handoff, and this is Blunt again. Gain of a yard. 2nd and 9. But Brady, of course, that line getting shuffled every week, sacked or contacted against the Bills, the Broncos, and the Eagles about 1/3 of the time. And it's the first time in 13 years that has happened, and I guess it all starts, of course, up front.
No doubt. And he said his offensive lineman, he'd never seen him so happy this week when he came off the field, and they were all saying, JJ broke his hand. He broke his hand.
Is he out of the game?
Is he going to play?
2nd down and 8. And the pass is dropped by LaFell. It looked like they had 9 guys on Watt that time. 3rd and 8.
Well, he's going to try and jump inside on occasion now, so that he doesn't always have to face that double team from the tight end. Jumps inside, is going to get more of the same inside. This guy, no question about it, has just been amazing. Off the charts. When you compare him to other guys at his position, it's like they're not playing the same position. He is so far superior to anybody else sort of playing that 34 defensive end.
3rd and 8, and this time it's Bolden, and he'll be stopped at the 25, setting up a field goal attempt. Well, Bill Belichick paid him the ultimate compliment this week, and it's really not hyperbole. He started comparing Watt to Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, I thought he told a great story too about Lawrence Taylor, and Lawrence knew when a guy was going to block him because he could see the fear in his eyes. He said if he didn't have that look of fear in his eyes, he knew he was blocking somebody else. He said, I know the same thing happens out there with J.J. Watt. He said he can smell fear on the other side when somebody has to single block him.
43-yard attempt. Kostowski will try to make it a 10-3 advantage. And he does. A couple of minutes into the 2nd quarter. New England on top of Houston, 10-3.
I tell you, he did, I thought, an unbelievable job. Can you imagine walking into that mess up there and what he did? And actually, he said Bill Belichick had a lot to do with his decision. He said, yeah, it's a horrible thing that happened at Penn State, but that is an unbelievable college job. And if you want to be a head coach and they want you, you should consider that. He took those words to heart. He did, was there couple of years, named Coach of the Year 1 year with a tremendous job. You can imagine how hard that was. Limited scholarships, the whole thing, and then on to the NFL.
Back to the NFL he came. Grimes in the backfield now. And Grimes off to the races. And finally forced out of bounds at the 45-yard line by Devin McCourty. So they have 4 different guys who can carry the ball. Grimes, third year out of William and Mary. A 37-yard pickup.
Nice kick out block here on Ninkovich, and then Jay Prosh, the fullback's going to kick out Chung, and here we go. There's something about this kid. I don't know what it is, but Jonathan Grimes just has a way. He seems, here he is in the shotgun, or Wildcat.
And he takes the ball to the 40-yard line. So Grimes, after that 37-yard run without a huddle, they come up to the line, takes the direct snap and picks up about 4 here to make it 2nd down and 6.
You know, they have all kinds of different options of things they can do. Cecil Short's already thrown a touchdown pass this year. He's 3 for 3 as a passer. And so they are going to show you as many different looks as they possibly can.
2nd and 6. They go 3 by 1 with the receivers to the left side. Patriots show blitz. They pick it up. Pass is caught. This time it's Cecil Shorts, and he has a 1st down. Takes the ball to the 29-yard line where Patrick Chung makes the tackle, and again he wants to get him up to the line. Hoyer without a huddle.
Nice job picking up the blitz that time by Mayo, coming right up the center. They're trying to bring pressure. You can see it. Bring pressure right up the gut here against Brian Hoyer.
Wildcat again, and here goes Grimes, who takes the ball to the 27-yard line. Tackled there by Chandler Jones.
You know, what they're doing, though, is they're not only going fast, but they're going fast with substitutions. So Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator, he has to sort of say, okay, who do we want to get on the field? Who's out there right now? And they kind of go fast and slow, and you're never quite sure exactly what they're going to do. Pretty good chess game going on here.
Yeah, this time they bring in about 5 new guys, huddle up, have Akeem Hunt in the backfield. They give it to him. He slips a tackle, but then is taken down at the 27-yard line. Mayo gets credit for the stop. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
They really like this Akeem Hunt. He gives them a little bit of a speed factor. If you say, what's the knock on this Texans offense? It's really that they just don't have that guy that can just blow past everybody. Well, Akeem Hunt is that guy. He ran about a 4.36 at his pro day and gives them a little bit of that option coming out of the backfield.
Sooner or later, they'll go to Hopkins. He hasn't caught anything tonight. Of course, their #1 back was Arian Foster, has been for years. The tore his Achilles in that disaster at Miami. And now Hoyer launches one, and it's incomplete. Intended there for Nate Washington with Malcolm Butler covering on the play. It'll be 4th and 8.
Well, they're going to get a lot of this on the outside if they want it. Nate Washington one-on-one, and you're always going to be tempted. They got him earlier in the game, and it almost looked like Nate Washington didn't know that ball was being thrown, but Butler couldn't have played that any better.
So here's Novak, signed at the end of September, former San Diego Charger. This will be a 45-yard attempt. Shane Leckler with the hold. And Novak's kick is good with 9.5 to go in the half. 10-6 Pats. All right, high above NRG Stadium, and you can see there, and Chris will circle it. There it is, the Astrodome, built in the 60s.
House of Pain.
Yep, it was House of Pain. It was billed as the 8th wonder of the world. But of course, then they built NRG Stadium. John Madden, when he was coaching the Raiders, came to the Astrodome 3 times. He was 3-0, and of course, we want to send our very best to Coach Madden, who underwent surgery recently, recovering right now. And John, we know you'll be back on your feet. We know you're watching tonight. We send our best wishes to you, man.
We are all thinking about you.
This is Keyshawn Martin, a couple of yards from the end zone to the 20-yard line. That's what they'll start.
Well, what do you do to the best defensive player in the game? This is what you do. You hope he's got a cast on his hand and a bad elbow and all that, and then you pay a lot of attention. One-on-one blocking, and he gets a shot even though he gets a flag there. Now you get the, looks like a double team, turns into a triple team, and there's a shot. Here's a 2-for-1. Help with the tight end over there on that side. jump them inside. Now we're playing with the guard and the tackle on that side. So you know Belichick, right, Al? He is not going to let star players beat him. And what have we seen? So far, not much out of J.J. Watt and not much out of Hopkins.
They start from the 19-yard line. And Brady flips it out to Gronkowski. And that's his second catch of the night, run out by Merciless.
Well, Neil Hornsby from Pro Football Focus went back and looked at every single play. He was single block, J.J. Watt was 70% of the time, and doubled 24% of it when he was against the run. And here he is against the pass. Let's pay a little more attention to him. Double or triple team 46% of the time. That is quite a tribute to the two-time Defensive Player of the Year and quite likely to win it again this year.
Came into the weekend leading the league in sacks with 13.5 as Blunt gets a first down, but then Khalil Mack of the Raiders had 5 sacks in the Raiders win against Denver today. So for the moment, Mack leads the league with 14.
Wow. We had 2 of the 3 leaders in this game coming in, but no more, huh? J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones were 1-3 coming in.
Ziggy Ansah was between them from the Lions. Ball at the 32-yard line. And a heavy dose of Blunt here in the first half. He takes the ball out to the 38-yard line. Blunt has now carried the ball 10 times in the half for a total of 53 yards and a little slow in getting up.
Got a little news if that's a problem.
So an injury timeout for Blunt. All right, so Blunt walks off. Needs some attention on the bench. Of course, he's their pounder. He's their #1 back. The other backs are Brandon Bolden and James White. And right now Bolden comes into the game on a 2nd down and 4 from the 38-yard line. Spin around and the pass incomplete. Intended for Keyshawn Martin. Kareem Jackson covering. 3rd and 4. The heavy lifting on the run game done by Blunt. Of course, Dion Lewis was hurt a few weeks back. He had averaged 4.8 yards a carry and also was a great pass receiver. A big loss. And of course, Blunt is now their key guy. They spread it out here. They go 5 wide on a 3rd and 4. And Bolden on a sweep, breaking tackles, picks up the first down. So they split him out, put him in motion, give it to him on the end around, first down.
Oh, I love the play that call there by Josh McDaniels. You see how he sort of went slowly in the beginning? The Patriots use this a lot to determine if it's man or zone. But that time you got the short little motion, but he starts slowly and then sprints and takes the quick handoff and just outruns everybody to the edge. Cleverly done. A few new tricks in the bag here against their old coaching mate in New England, Bill O'Brien.
You can count on Josh McDaniels to come up with something new every week. Ball at the 49-yard line. And Bolden again, and Bolden will take the ball for a gain of 5 or a 5-yard gain. Michael Williams with the block. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
One of the interesting matchups on the outside, Sebastian Vollmer right here against the former #1 pick, Jadeveon Clowney on the outside, and just able to seal that off. Clowney is the guy if Houston's going to make a run, and he looked pretty good last week. Had a sack in that game, was playing well, was moving well, had a lot of injuries since he's gotten here. But if somebody could take some of the pressure off of J.J. Watt, it would be a huge move for this football team.
And that's why they drafted him #1 overall in 2014. Flag down. Bolden for the moment gets to the 43-yard line. Haven't heard from Jeff Triplett in a little while.
Holding. 63 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
The rookie right guard, that's Trey Jackson. Picked him in the 4th round out of Florida State.
Yeah. Trey Jackson is going to hold him right there, and you're going to see it's right when Vince tries to get off late. He's going to hook that left arm. See that? The little jersey pull right there. And then Wilfork did a right hook. Make sure that tackle didn't go anywhere.
Makes it 2nd down and 16 with James White now in the backfield. And Brady fires to midfield. Amendola gets taken down right at the midfield stripe by Kareem Jackson. It will be 3rd and 9 for the Patriots.
Now, we haven't talked much about that James White who's come in there, but he really, what a performance he put on last week. 10 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown against the Eagles. And he sort of has taken over that Shane Vereen role as the receiving back coming out of the backfield. So 1st and 2nd downs, likely Brandon Bolden if Blunt can't play. And James White, the key guy now, sort of filling in for Dion Lewis on 3rd down.
Brock on the sideline. Brady says, let's hurry it up. 5 minutes to go in the half. And Brady flings it to the outside, but low short of the 1st down there. James White makes the catch, and New England will punt. It's Kareem Jackson in on the play again.
Well, and you've got J.J. Watt coming off the edge. You can almost say, okay, who is it this time that's going to double him? And you know it's either the guy on the outside of him, which if he'd have come far outside, I'm sure the back would have chipped him. He stays tight and gets double teamed from the guard.
Ryan Allen ready for his 2nd punt of the game. And angles it to the far side. And that's a beauty, as they'll spot the ball at the 3-yard line with 4:15 remaining in the half. And Blunt back to the locker room. Over 70,000 can fit into this building. The Patriots won the Super Bowl here after the 03 season against Carolina, and the stadium will host the Super Bowl after next season. That's DeAndre Hopkins, who has not caught a pass to this point tonight, and that's news because he's caught at least 5 in every game, and you've got a flag here.
Start. Number 87 offense. Half the distance to the goal, still 1st down.
That's C.J. Fedorowicz, and that cost him 1.5 yards. So Hopkins, 5 catches or more in every game. He had 11 against Indianapolis, his high for the year, but nothing tonight. Logan Ryan doing a heck of a job on him.
With help.
Yep, with a little bit of help from McCourty on the outside. And, of course, the second, you mentioned it, he makes his 1st catch of the night.
Yeah, here's Hopkins. You see the safety help over the top. That's what he's going to get for the most part. They went from sort of playing Malcolm Butler, remember on opening night against Antonio Brown, to saying maybe we shouldn't do that. We'll just come out here and we'll take our number 2 corner, Logan Ryan, and give him some safety help on their number 1 receiver. And that formula has worked out well for the Patriots this year.
2nd down and 6. Hopkins, the number 1 guy, and that enabled them to let Andre Johnson, who had such a stud up here, go to Indianapolis. To the 10-yard line goes Chris Polk. The 3rd down. Play was whistled dead.
Foreign progress is ruled on the play. 3rd down.
3rd and 3.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about DeAndre Hopkins. It was interesting talking to him, wasn't it? That his sort of heroes growing up were Johnny Unitas and Pistol Pete Maravich. I was like, how do you even know those guys? Well, I guess Pete Maravich went to his high school, and sort of in some of the pickup games around that high school is where he learned how to put on the show that he used to.
Went to Clemson, did Hopkins. He's their number 1 pick back in 2013. Now another whistle here.
Timeout.
And a timeout
New
taken
England, they're
by the
It'll be a
defense.
30-second timeout. Reset the game clock to 3:02.
Hopkins, when he was at Clemson, he had Sammy Watkins there, and then Martavis Bryant came along a little bit later. We were talking to him the other day. Who was the alpha dog there? He said, me. What are you talking about? Of course.
But he has been an absolute star. 29 catches of 20 or more yards, 2nd most in the NFL. There you goes that one.
Yep.
And he's been targeted 145 times, and only Julio Jones more than that. So they knew what they were doing. They were willing to let Andre Johnson walk because they knew they had that young man right there. And He has turned into a star. Really great at going up at high pointing balls, making some of those spectacular catches.
3rd and 3. Hoyer has time and then throws it a little bit behind Ryan Griffin. The tight end has really done a good job this year. He's been one of their best players, but he too has been blanked tonight in his 4th down.
Well, let's see how big a play that turns into. I thought that 3rd down was monster, and this was a bad throw. Hoyer just basically threw it behind him, really didn't give him a chance. But now you get a chance for the Patriots to double up like they do so many times at the end of the half and beginning of the 3rd quarter.
Necker's punt caught by Keyshawn Martin at his own 48. Nice run back to the 41. So Brady has a short field to work with 2:45 to go in the half. 10-6 Patriots. 41-yard line. And this is Brandon Bolden. You got Blunt back in the locker room. We'll get a report soon from Michelle. In fact, we'll get it right now.
Yeah, LeGarrette Blunt went to the x-ray room, Al. You saw him go off after undergoing a full hip exam. He is questionable with a hip injury. Also, linebacker Jonathan Freeney, who, as you said, Bill Belichick said saved them this season, has come out of the x-ray room after having his right hand examined. No glove, no tape on that right hand. He's questionable with a hand injury, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So they keep piling up due to the injuries for New England. And Brady's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. Of course, Julian Edelman is out, but he went back to practice last week. And Brady knows exactly how the clock was 1 second off in terms of having to run a play, which he did not. 2-minute warning. 10-6 New England. Two minutes remaining in the half on 2nd down and 9. Brady off the play fake. Hits LaFell. He gets tackled by Kareem Jackson, who's been all over the place at the 35. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
You know, it's really interesting to watch this game plan by New England. It's almost a horizontal game plan. You know what I mean? Now they're going sideways, and all those wham blocks with the tight ends coming back. So any of those defensive linemen that are so anxious to get after Tom Brady, they're either getting hit going sideways or they're throwing it over the top of him.
And a lot of balance. A lot of times they'll pass 50 times in a game or run the ball 35 tonight. 14 runs, 13 passes, and the 14th pass is good for a 1st down of Martin, and Martin will be thrust out of bounds at the 22-yard line with 1:12 left in the half.
Now let's take a look at the pass rushers on the outside. Cannon that time, like Watt, was trying to get underneath him, and then on the other side to get a double team going on Clowney. So when they have had to drop back and throw the ball, this offensive line has answered. They have been all over the place with this offensive line this year. It has been at least 2 changes made in each of the last 5 games, and yet somehow they pieced it together here tonight.
Ball to 22. With 72 seconds left. Brady protected well. Caught by Amendola, and Amendola with that burst should have picked up the 1st down. Got away from Andre Howe. Chris talking about that double down. They do it so often. They always defer. Belichick one time didn't defer in Cincinnati in the rain and wind, and then he has deferred 67 times in a row. Even though Bill tells us, you know, every game is different. Right? Okay, 67 times in a row they've deferred. They run the clock down. They want that last possession of the 1st half, and then they want to get the ball to start the 2nd half. You got Brandon Bolden now. And he's taken down after no gain by Kareem Jackson, and a timeout taken here by New England. 2nd down. .28 seconds. The ball at the 11 is 2nd down and 9. McDaniels with the play call. And let's see what he has dialed up here.
You have to watch this James White coming out of the backfield. They answered with a defensive back on him. They did not want a linebacker to cover him.
3-man rush, and the pass sails high and out of bounds. Only 4 seconds came off the clock, but now a 3rd and 9.
There's 2 different timing mechanisms here. When they go one-on-one with Cannon on Watt, Brady is going to throw that thing in about 1.5 seconds. If they have him double team, that's when he's willing to hold it a bit longer and look down the field.
So Brian Cushing with the speaker in his helmet trying to get the defensive alignment on a 3rd and 9. Again, a 3-man rush, and Brady throws, caught, and out of bounds goes LaFell, and that's going to be a first down with 19 seconds, and they have a timeout. Take a look. They may be looking at this in New York as we speak. 1 down, 2, got the ball.
I thought he had both feet down.
Yep.
That was a great read by Brady. At the last second, the cornerback on that side sunk down inside, so he knew he had LaFell one-on-one. They try to disguise, you try and hold it against Brady, but he just sees so much.
Got White and Bolden both in the backfield. And now you've got a timeout taken
Houston
by the
first.
Texans. 1st and goal. The Texans defense has been very good, but the one problem they have had is in goal-to-go situations where they faced 12 of them and they've given up 12 touchdowns.
You know, it's interesting watching this team 2 weeks in a row now. Last week against Buffalo and Romeo Crennel's team, they ran so much of this sort of lateral offense, and it was Shady McCoy getting out around them last week. And you just get the feeling that teams feel like coming in, they can't really just block them straight up one-on-one. And they've created this thing that's starting to irritate this defense that was playing so well.
White and Bolden both in the backfield. Got Chandler now splitting out. They split the 2 tight ends. Gronkowski comes to the bottom of the screen.
On a linebacker.
And a slot receiver. And it's Gronk making the catch for the touchdown.
Just not a fair fight.
No. Demps trying to cover. Well, you think about 2 weeks ago, it was a Sunday night game in Denver. It looked like he'd be out for the rest of his career, the way he was writhing in agony on the field in Denver.
Actually, the safety, Demps, out there on him. And you're right, boy, it was Gronkowski telling us that he had never been in so much pain in his life. And all you got to do is look at his body with all those different armaments on him to know that he has had plenty of surgeries and plenty of issues. But he said that bone bruise was as painful as anything he had ever endured. And I think he was fairly certain, wasn't he, that he was going to have to go through another one of those long rehab processes that he'd been through before.
Gostowski for the extra point. And so only 14 seconds remain in the half. The Gronk, a big factor here in the first half, and it's 17-6. Gronkowski, well, they said game time decision, but we saw him last night, had the meeting with him, and walked out of the room and said he's playing. Very little doubt about that. He's caught 3 balls for 52 yards, a touchdown. He had a 45-yard reception. So he only misses the 1 game. He gets hurt against Denver. They lose the game in overtime. And then last week it was all about special teams miscues and Brady throwing a 99-yard interception, which was run back by the defense's Gronkowski. Go back to the Denver game, and here is the injury and the fact that he was completely writhing in pain at the end, and you thought for the moment, of course, he's out for the year.
You know, and one of the hard parts for defensive backs is that, you know, he's so big. He's 260 pounds, and most of them weigh 205, 210, something like that. And what do? Somebody like that, you go after their knees, and I think many of those receivers would almost opt to be hitting the head instead of hitting the knee and go through all the rehab.
It is halftime, and the Patriots trying to regain positioning for that #1 seed, thanks to a couple of key losses today by the Bengals and the Broncos. A run back here by Keyshawn Martin from the goal line out to the 21-yard line. Let's take a look at Gronk here.
Why is Rob Gronkowski the best tight end in football? A, because he blocks for the run. They pop a big run there, and now you try and cover him with a linebacker. Can't do that. Linebackers not fast enough, not big enough, not tall enough, and then you try your safety out there. Maybe a little push off on that one, and there's your touchdown. So for a guy who is coming off of a very scary injury and thought it was the most painful thing that he had ever had, made a pretty good bounce back effort here in this one.
It's just the one game last week against Philadelphia. Second half begins with a little toss to White, and White able to skirt a tackle, get outside, and take it all the way to almost midfield, tackled by Kareem Jackson. We check in with Michelle.
Well, running back LeGarrette Blount has been downgraded to out with that hip injury. He will not return for the Patriots, and their linebacker Jonathan Freeney remains questionable with a hand injury. And speaking of hands, Bill O'Brien told me that J.J. Watt's hand is an issue in terms of which side they can line him up on. They're going to try to do some different things here in the second half to free him up, Al.
That's very interesting as we take a look at the fact that they can't line him up all over the place as they normally do. And the tackle made there by Jared Crick, number 93, but not yet. Not yet. He started, but keeping those legs moving was Brandon Bolden, who takes the ball into Houston territory.
Well, I tell you, that was some run. Jared Crick was basically on top of him, and I think Crick thought that he was just going to go down, and Bolden had other plans for that one. Right at the line of scrimmage, there's Crick. He's right on top of him, and he was within inches of being on the ground. And he carries defensive linemen, middle linebackers, everybody for about another 5 yards. What an effort.
He, of course, will be a big key in the second half with Blount downgraded. So the injuries just keep piling up for New England as Brady flips this one to Brandon LaFell. And that will be a first down. You know, we've talked about the injuries that they've had and the fact that, you know, Amendola was hurt, but then he came back. Edelman, they hope to have back maybe in a couple of weeks. You never knew about Gronk until he was able to just miss that one game. They missed Nate Solder, Ryan Wendell, a couple of linemen for most of the season, and they just keep mixing and matching.
Yeah, I just don't know that it matters. You know, they played so many offensive linemen this season that now here they are late in the season, a little bit like last year. Now maybe they're getting settled up front, and now things are going to start taking off.
And then Brady throws a little low, but Amendola goes to the turf and is able to make the grab. Danny Amendola going to the ground, and it's ruled a catch. Let's take another look at it. Ball is bouncing, so even though it was ruled a...
I think they're going to take a look at that.
There's no question. Well, you got to challenge it.
I mean, it bounces up off of his hand, but it's hard to that hit the ground.
No
I think
question.
That hit the
so
ground.
where's the challenge flag? And there it is. Okay. So Brian hears from upstairs. You're going to probably win the challenge, and that's going to make it after the ruling, which we're 99.44% sure of.
Yes. Which is as sure as you could ever be anymore.
Right.
You know, they've had some receivers drop balls on them. At the end of that game last week, there were 3 straight drops at the end of that one that just killed their opportunity for a huge comeback.
A couple of minutes into the third quarter. Coach's challenge.
After review, the ruling on the field is changed. The ball skipped in. It is an incomplete pass. It's 2nd and 10 on the 38. Please reset the game clock to 12:48.
Pretty clear here.
Yep. For a minute, you wondered, I'm sure the official thought maybe it bounced off that hand and up, but certainly some of the pellets flew as well.
So back once we started the series of downs, and second down at the 38-yard line. James White with Brady in the backfield. And then the pass goes to White, and it cannot get away that time from Bernardrick McKinney, starting linebacker, rookie second-round pick out of Mississippi State.
All right, J.J. Watt right out here, who told us at Wisconsin what he learned how to do first. He'd never played defensive line before. So they came out and they just drew a line on a card and said, you rush here, and he thought he wasn't allowed to move. He had to go in a straight line. He just put his head down and plowed. Exactly what he did there.
Well, he started to jump, and that forced Marcus Cannon to move as well.
Neutral zone infraction, number 99 in the defense. The 5-yard penalty, it's still 3rd down.
He knows it too, and that's going to make the 3rd and 8 a 3rd and 3.
Well, and what the Patriots have done in this game is they've gotten a lead, and they've been able to play their style of play. What Bill O'Brien was hoping for was a game where his team had to lead and Tom Brady had to start dropping back and throwing the ball, and his pass rushers could come get him. And this game has not worked out that way at all.
Already in field goal range for one of the best in the league, Gostowski. It'll be 3rd down and 3 as Brady with the pump fake, and then down the sideline and jumping up and making the catch is James White. So Bolden and White, in the absence of Blunt, coming through.
This kid is really adding something now. I'm telling you. Now that's a heck of a play, and if he's going to make plays like that, this offense is going to get back to where they once were. A little pick play inside, no question about it. Brandon LaFell did a good job on Andre Howe.
And they may want to, a challenge here again. So O'Brien throws the flag, contending that he was out of bounds. Didn't come down with both feet in. It's going to be close. After we looked at the initial replay one more time here. When does he have possession? Well, that left foot touches the chalk.
Al, that's going to be overturned.
Yep, again.
Pass at the sideline.
Because anytime you get the toe heel on a catch, I think it's going to be overturned.
Yep, it'll be coming back. And we'll be coming back. This is about as close as it ever gets. We think it's going to be overturned, but it's clear that one foot is down, but then the left foot, the heel touches the stripe, and so we think it's going to get overturned and what would have been a 20-yard completion.
And that's the only question. Does that heel actually hit down? You know what I mean? I think it was out of bounds, but did it actually touch the ground? And remember, you have to have something a little bit definitive in order to overturn it. I'm sure they're debating this one long and hard here.
And they can stitch it together. They can see all of the angles. So there's one angle where it looks like it comes down in bounds, and the other one where you clearly see the foot touching the boundary. That one.
The third angle, that one made me think that it was out of bounds. That one makes you think it's out of bounds. The other one made you wonder, did it ever hit the ground?
Right. Here's Triplett.
After review, the ruling on the field is changed. The receiver's heel came down on the line out of bounds. It was an incomplete pass. We set the clock to 11:32. It'll be 4th and 3 on the 31. Houston is not charged with timeout, and since they've won both challenges, they will get a 3rd challenge.
Right, it's going to be 4th down. Field goal unit comes in. Gostowski to try to tack on 3. O'Brien has to challenge twice on one drive, and when you win 2, you get a 3rd. So he still has 1 in his pocket.
Yeah, and if he makes this, they're going to have a 14-point lead. Does that sound familiar at all? Lost back-to-back games with 14-point leads.
And that's what it would be with a 49-yard attempt if this one is through the uprights. And it's like clockwork with this guy. 49-yard field goal, made it by plenty. And there it is again, a 14-point New England lead.
And he already holds the record for most extra points in a row, and that's a record that truly will never be broken, right? Because they changed the extra point to move it out now, so nobody's ever going to get to that number again. So whenever he finally misses an extra point, that record will be an NFL record forever.
Yeah, that bet is off the board.
Yep.
And again, that deferring at the beginning, they get the ball at the end of the half. They get the ball to start the second half. 16 times they've scored on the last possession of the first half, and again after receiving the second half kickoff since 09.
And the miss by Brian Hoyer to Ryan Griffin just before the half that would have been a first down, would have allowed them to at least attempt to run out the half. And you almost knew, didn't you, when they punted, you go, okay, is this going to be 14 points, 10 points, or 6 points? You know, what's it going to be? You're going to pay a price for that miss.
20-6 as Hoyer gets ready to come back in. Akeem Hunt ready to run it back. Starting at the 20. Stride begins big hole through the middle, and this is Polk to the 29-yard line. Goes the former Philadelphia Eagle. It'll be second down and 1.
A pretty good job in there by Fedorowicz. Jamie Collins was coming in there trying to dance around a little bit with these two linebackers, and then Fedorowicz going to make Jamie Collins jump the wrong way, and Polk just took advantage of that. They've had some decent runs in this game, and they've been running the ball well. I think it's 3 straight games over 100 yards. Just haven't had a chance to stay with it.
This time, play action on 2nd and 1. That buys Hoyer a lot of time. Deep downfield, and it is incomplete. Malcolm Butler and Nate Washington, and there is a flag on the play.
Boy, if he could have just thrown that one sooner, he had him wide open.
Flag back at the 40.
Prior to the pass, holding number 26 of the defense. The 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Called on Logan Ryan.
Oh, it was a great route, just a veteran player. Watch him lean back here and then take off, and had it. He had it wide open and just a little bit underthrown. I don't think Hoyer saw him right away. There have been a couple of balls tonight that Hoyer just a half a step underthrown. You could see he looked left, and by the time he came back, just tough to throw it that far.
First down after the penalty from the 34. Very good protection. He's going to air it out again, and that one winds up out of bounds. That's the Ryan Hopkins battle tonight, which Ryan has won.
They're trying to disguise in the back end. Right here, they're trying to show help here so you don't throw it there. But watch what happens. You're going to see McCourty sort of lean that way, but then go back to the middle of the field. And the minute Hoyer sees that, he's going to take a shot to his best receiver. But Logan Ryan said, I don't need any help over there. I got him. But that's the kind of ball you want thrown up to Hopkins. Just throw it high and give him a chance.
Second down and 10. Hoyer, good protection, deep downfield again, and reaching out, but incomplete. He almost had it. Ryan Griffin again can't hold on. Almost a spectacular grab, but could not hold on to the end, and it's third down.
Going right at Chung here, going to move outside and then a quick little break to the inside. That little skinny post route, just beautifully done, and I've seen it so many times. You make the catch. This is a catch. But now when you hit the ground, it is a whole nother thing to hang on to that thing because you're still manipulating the ball going down, and it just gets away. Boy, they have had 3 chances now for really big plays.
Third and 10, play clock at 2. And this time he checks down underneath, and that is incomplete. Coverage there by Collins on Griffin, so fourth down.
How many linebackers, inside linebackers, can do this? Jamie Collins has been sick. He's a guy who's probably playing 10, 15 pounds lighter than what he was. He missed a bunch of games, which probably only makes him faster. He almost looks like a defensive back out there playing. What a tremendous athlete he is. He's one of my favorite guys to watch.
Lecler's kick is juggled. Ball is loose.
Special teams.
The red shirts get in there again.
Special teams, 3 weeks in a row.
Turned it over once again at the 22-yard line. Texans get the break they need.
Unbelievable. Punt block for a touchdown, punt return for a touchdown, a fumble against Denver 2 weeks ago that turned that game around. You're up 14, you fumble another punt. It has absolutely been a nightmare on special teams for the Patriots lately.
Deshaun Martin with John Simon with the recovery. So the Texans have it at the 22. And Hoyer throws over the middle. That is caught by Hopkins, his second catch of the night. And then he loses the ball. And back to the 20 it goes.
They're blowing it dead.
Of course, the Patriots all think it is theirs.
Second down.
Yep, blew it dead.
Play was whistled dead, so it's a gain of 7 to the 14-yard line. There's Collins coming in again. Oh, that ball is coming out.
Yeah, but they blew forward progress dead. I saw the official coming up, so you can't go challenge that.
Exactly right. So it'll stand as a gain of 6.
Jamie Collins had that big forced fumble last week. Gave him a chance to come back from 21 down and win the game, and then they dropped too many passes at the end.
Wildcat Grimes, we saw this in the first half. And New England says we've seen this act before. That's Alan Branch running him down from behind for a loss of a couple. It'll be third down. Let's call it 3rd and 4.
Alan Branch may be the most improved player on this team. I just think that when that guy is motivated and when he is playing hard, physically he can play with anybody. And they have just sort of psychologically gone to battle with him and with Matt Patricia and the guys, and he has played really well for about the past month.
3rd down and 4. Pick up the blitz, then the pass is juggled by Washington and incomplete. And again, tremendous coverage by Malcolm Butler. 4th down.
Well, you see where it's like Revis Island, right? I mean, this is what they do all the time. They take their number 2 receiver, and Malcolm Butler basically takes him the whole game one-on-one. And he's good with that. That's how he wants to play. Comes up with a huge play right there. Boy, Washington had it in his hands, and it was the late effort by Malcolm Butler that got it out of there.
They're going to go for it on 4th and 4, down by 14 points. So they pass up the opportunity for a short field goal. And Hoyer will throw, and that is incomplete. And again, the coverage is good. That's Leonard Johnson, the newest of the Patriots, just picked up, intended for Griffin. They turned it over on downs.
Boy, he has made an impact, hasn't he?
It remains 20-6 Patriots. Robert Kraft's son Jonathan Kraft here in Houston tonight, knowing that their team has another 14-point lead, so confidence level is probably down a little bit, but his team looking very good at this point, giving the ball up but then stopping Houston on downs, and Brady and company take over at the 16-yard line. And Bolden will get wrapped up. Loss of 1, 2nd down.
Well, if they can't do it from down in the stance, we'll just put him in the middle of the field, let him play middle linebacker. There's J.J. Watt. They went to an unbalanced line, tried to bring an extra offensive lineman over to that right side and run that way. So they are trying to do anything they can to get J.J. Watt going, and maybe thinking with that club on his hand might be easier right in the middle.
Five wide on 2nd and 11. And Brady over the middle, right down the middle to Danny Amendola, setting up a 3rd down and 3.
Well, just put that one in your memory bank, because they had Benardrick McKinney, the middle linebacker, on the outside covering James White, the guy that's caught so many balls here. Let's see what's out. He's back in the backfield now. There he goes out wide. But now, because it's 3rd down, now they've got the safety Eddie Pleasant on.
And Brady fires, and that's incomplete. And that's intended for James White, and Eddie Pleasant was right there covering on the play, 4th down.
Yeah, they came right back to it again, hit the slant. A little different, though, when you bring the safety in as opposed to that linebacker. I thought they had the opportunity. I'm not sure if Brady saw it or not. Well, yes, he did. He sees everything out there, but just chose not to and then missed that one. So a big defensive stand for Houston. Give them another chance.
Ryan on the punt. And a fair catch called for by Cecil Shorts at the 39-yard line. So special teams have been a big problem of late. Let's go back to Denver when this was such a key play in the game. Chris Harper losing the ball. Denver recovers. They wound up cutting him. Last week this happened with 11 seconds to go in the half. The block punt run in for a touchdown. Sproles the touchdown return on the punt. And Philadelphia had 3 returns for touchdowns in that game, and obviously that was the difference. And this is Chris Polk. You know what's funny is that New England has not had a single return touchdown this year, and Philadelphia wound up with 3 in about 15 minutes of clock time last week.
Yeah, and we have a development here. Devin McCourty not out there on the field. We saw him kind of limping off, and he is their leader on the back end of this thing and a superstar player.
Ron Harmon takes his spot. Now here's Polk. Let's go to Michelle.
Oh, yeah, that development is that Devin McCourty is currently in the X-ray room, questionable with an ankle. So the injuries continue to stack up. They lost running back LeGarrette Blount earlier to the hip injury. Jonathan Freeney questionable with a hand injury, and now Devin McCourty, guys.
Yep, it's unbelievable. And then they go out and they find guys like Leonard Johnson, who's making his Patriot debut tonight and has been a factor. 3rd down and 3. And it's fired over the middle, and that is caught by the tight end Ryan Griffin. So a key 3rd down conversion here to the 34-yard line, tackled there by Patrick Chung after a gain of 20.
And that's what happens if you're just going to rush 3. They try and drop 8 into coverage here. Then Hoyer's doing the right thing. He knows to hold the ball, and then you're going to get those late opportunities over the middle to make a play.
And Patrick Chung.
Oh boy, another save.
Yeah, he's been fighting through some issues of late. He had a foot injury, so he was listed on the injury report, though he has, along with everybody in that secondary, they have started every game. You know, Chris, it's an amazing thing when the Patriots, and we've talked about it many times, and we don't want to overstate this, but somehow, some way, and they've done it for so long with Belichick, a guy named Ernie Adams, who's in the office. Nobody really knows who this guy is.
Yeah.
But I mean, they look at everything, and they know how do you find these guys, and they pick them up. I mean, like for instance, Johnson tonight.
Well, that's exactly right. They tend to find somebody, but they also have depth at those positions because they look for versatile players, right? They look for guys that can do a lot of different things, going back to the Troy Brown days when he could do everything. But when you get those kinds of players and you get injuries, you go, okay, well, let's just shuffle him over there, and it makes a difference.
They looked at somebody like Dion Lewis, who had been hurt, so you kind of forget about this guy. He'd been with Philadelphia, then with Cleveland. They brought him in, and Brady told us before that opening game, he said this guy is going to be a major factor with this team, and he wasn't until he got hurt.
Now there's Chung on the tackle, and don't know if maybe he pivoted around on that foot. It's just hard to tell. Yeah, he did. Took a pretty good shot to the helmet trying to make that tackle, so maybe just stunned.
And that brings Jordan Richards, a rookie from Stanford, into the game there.
Yeah,
2nd round pick.
This is when you start thinking about looking down the field, and they're starting to back off now. So offensively, the Texans are going to have to realize what's going on. Well, here comes Chung back in the game. But when you get 2 young guys on the back end, what does Matt Patricia do? He's going to go safe. He goes to that Tampa 2 kind of a look down the middle of the field. You just didn't want those young guys making a big mistake.
There's Grimes on the last carry, 2nd down and 8. Matt Patricia calling the defense. Shorts in motion. And Hoyer looks that way and then has it batted down at the line of scrimmage. Akeem Hicks with the bat. 3rd and 8.
Was it a throw or a fumble? It's a fumble.
That's what they're going to. Well, the Patriots say it is a fumble, and their offense is going to come on the field. Take a look here.
Clearly, he's trying to. Oh no! I think they're going to take a good look at that one. That looks incomplete.
The ruling on the field is a fumble.
I saw him throw the beanbag, which means a fumble.
Timeout.
So I knew what they were thinking.
And we'll take a look when we come back. So it's ruled a turnover. It's going to get overturned. The ball just slipped out of his hand, so no challenge is necessary. All turnovers are reviewed. The ball slips out, and they're going to wind up calling this an incomplete pass.
Yeah, if they'd have called that a fumble, we might have gotten Bill O'Brien in a teapot moment, huh?
Right. Oh, we're still waiting for Triplett. Here he comes.
After review, the ruling on the field is changed. It is an incomplete pass. The quarterback's arm was going forward, and he released it. So it'll be 3rd and 8 on the 32. Put 5:10 back on the game clock.
And that's going to make it 3rd down and 8 now.
Well, that's the 3rd call overturned for Bill Belichick's squad, too.
Yep.
Big ones, all of them.
2 challenges by O'Brien, and that overturned. Reviewed in New York. Triplett makes the final call here, and the Texans stay alive at the 32-yard line. 3rd down and 8.
You got Nate Washington up there one more time. You want one more shot. They've been close. Should be one-on-one again. Wow.
Oh, look out. That's a fumble. That's Sheard who comes in and creates the fumble, and for the moment at least the Texans are able to retain possession, so at least they'll get to punt it. Derek Newton winds up with it. In the meantime, now you've got Dominique Easley, who is hurt. I mean, they're going down one by one on that New England defense.
Unblocked off the edge. I'm not sure exactly what Derek Newton's assignment was here. They had plenty of guys there to block him, and Derek Newton just lets Sheard go right off the edge, and you could tell Hoyer didn't see it until the last minute. What a job by Sheard to not go for the big hit. He went strictly for the football and got it out of there. Those are the difference between great veteran players that understand what the game's about. Big hits are a wonderful thing, but would rather get the football.
Well, now you've got Easley, who is still down. Their 1st-round draft choice out of Florida last year.
Well, let's hope it's nothing to do with his knee. He's had enough knee stuff. He is right there, and we have seen him already have an impact on the game, rushing the passer. They took a chance on him. He was injured in college and had really gotten pretty healthy here and was having an impact. Let's hope he's okay.
Well, that's what's happened tonight. Blunt out. Freeney questionable. McCourty questionable. Now Easley will be assisted to the sideline. And of course Hightower is missing his 2nd straight game.
A little tip of the cap, though, to this Patriots defense and Matt Patricia. This is a team that had one of their best days of the year last week, giving up yards, and all those returns made them look like they had a horrible day, giving up 35 points, where in reality they didn't give up anywhere close to that against the Eagles.
So the sack and the ensuing fumble, it's a 23-yard loss, so it's 4th and 31. Now Danny Amendola, who's been their #1 punt returner this season, is back there to accept the punt, calls for the fair catch, and makes it at the 12-yard line. Funny, you had Amendola returning a lot of kicks this year, but I think maybe Belichick didn't want him to have that role after he had to miss a game with a knee injury. And then they had Chris Harper. We showed you that play. He got cut the next week. Then you had another fumble tonight by Keyshawn Martin, and they go back to Amendola. To the 11-yard line, Brady brings his team up to the line of scrimmage now on first down. And taken down for a loss of 1, and that's Watt right there taking down Brandon Bolden in the backfield.
Boy, I tell you what, just a little too quick for Sebastian Vollmer right off the edge. We've seen him on all sides, but you see Vollmer looking in at the football, and by the time he looks back, J.J. Watt's gone. You're in a noisy stadium here, maybe not as noisy as it could be tonight. It goes right around and makes a play. So these two defenses now just trading big haymakers, and the offenses can't get it going.
2nd and 11. Just a 3-man rush. And the pass. Amendola. And he will squirt out to the 18. He grew up here in the Houston area. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
Now they keep flashing all these guys at the line of scrimmage, their best pass rushers in each of these gaps. But now watch what happens. Now they drop back. They say, okay, we get it. Tom Brady is getting this ball out so quickly in about 2 seconds. So let's just go back and try and cover for a while.
3.5 to go in the quarter. 3rd and 3.
Big play right here.
And just a 3-man rush, and that's enough to get to him. Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney, the #1 overall pick in the draft last year. Big, big sack.
And beats a double team. Watch this. This is fantastic. Both of them inside, guard and tackle on that side. He's going right between them. Spins Vollmer around, gets through Shaq Mason, the rookie. That's why you made him the #1 pick.
3.5 sacks for him this season. Ryan Allen to punt out of the end zone. It's a good angled kick. And stepping out of bounds was Cecil Shorts. Well, Clowney was the #1 pick for a number of reasons. I mean, he's a great player. But you go back to that Outback Bowl against Michigan in 2013, and well, that play was only replayed, what, about 4.5 million times?
It was indeed. But it has been nothing but injuries since he's gotten here. But we saw a glimpse last week in the game against Buffalo. That was a sack there, and then again here tonight. And so there could not be anything better that could happen to this team. This guy has had everything. Knee, shoulder, ankle, illness, back, wrist. You just go on and on. He has been on the injury report almost every single week since he's gotten here, and now starting to produce.
Meanwhile, a big punt by Allen, 51 yards and a -2 on the return. Chris Polk goes nowhere.
Well, nobody's blocking Jabal Sheard. I have no idea what they're doing up front right now. That is the 2nd straight big play that Sheard has made because nobody's blocked him. Unbelievable. Give him credit. Boy, he has been a force since he's gotten here.
Another guy they picked up from Cleveland, unrestricted free agent in the winter. And that catch is made by Jonathan Grimes out to the 42-yard line. Gerard Mayo makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Well, one guy we should give a little credit to over here is Dwayne Brown. Chandler Jones came into the night tonight as the 3rd leading sacker, and we were talking with Chandler Jones. He said, you know, my arms are 35.5 inches, his are 33. I'm hoping to use that against him, but so far tonight, relatively quiet night for Chandler Jones.
They go 5 wide on 3rd and 6. Look out again. And at the 35-yard line, it's Ninkovich. He comes around the corner and gets the sack.
Long night for Derek Newton tonight. Watch what happens with Ninkovich here. Going to knock the hands down of Derek Newton right here. Comes up on him, swat those hands down, and then that 310-pound plus man just leans forward, and Ninkovich goes right around him.
And then Akeem Hicks gives him a body blow as well. Fair catch is called for and made by Amendola, who comes all the way up to the 35-yard line on a very short punt. We go to Michelle.
You were talking about Jadeveon Clowney, and his most challenging health issue was undergoing microfracture surgery on his right knee last December. The procedure aims to repair damaged cartilage by drilling tiny holes into the underlying bone, in Clowney's case the femur, and those tiny fractures bleed, as you see here, promoting cartilage regeneration. And the surgery is relatively easy compared to the 6 to 8 months healing time, although Clowney told me, Al, that both pretty much stunk.
I would say there he is, though, playing about half the games that he could have in his 2 years here. But it's if he can be healthy and be what they think he is, that's scary. It's very scary.
That's exactly right.
This is Bolden, and Bolden balling his way for a first down. Finally stopped by Kareem Jackson in the final minute of the third quarter. It's a gain of 12 after a 30-yard Houston punt.
You know, sometimes the most competitive thing going on with the Patriots is trying to get on the field, and Brandon Bolden tonight has been tremendous. This has been a great effort after Blunt went out of the game. He looks like Blunt running the ball now.
Averaging over 4 yards a carry. 9 totes for 37 yards. Quick flip, LaFell, and he's able to break the tackle only momentarily and take the ball into Texan territory, where he's tackled by Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, that Kevin Johnson's a good-looking player. He was the second overall cornerback taken. Trey Waynes was the first cornerback taken in this draft, and he's played really well. Had a tough game against Buffalo, gave up some big plays. Kareem Jackson was the starter, but he's a guy that I think is going to have a bright future.
After 3, it's 20-6 Patriots. Sunday Night Football. Back after this. Start from the 50-yard line, 2nd down and 7. New England up by 14. And Bolden gets tripped up in the backfield by Clowney.
You just wonder, Al, how many more shots can this Texans defense survive? You know, I mean, they've just been playing awesome in this third quarter. They've given their offense chance after chance. They got a break on the fumbled punt. And the Texans offense just can't do anything about what Matt Patricia's defense has been doing to them.
Meanwhile, the doctor talking to Hoyer on the Texans sideline. Low snap. Brady is there, and he's going to get enveloped at the 40-yard line. Whitney Merciless now has 7.5 sacks this season.
Look like Dwight Freeney on this one. Watch the spin move. Here we go, right down the middle here. A little spin-a-roo on Brian Stork and right to Tom Brady. That's what they were hoping to do all night, which is attack him right up the gut and take advantage of some one-on-one matchups. Really the first time it's worked.
Second time that Tom has been sacked in the game, so 4th and 16. And Allen's 5th punt of the night. Backing up is Shorts at the 5-yard line. Slater misses him. And he brings it back out to the 18-yard line as Houston will again try to generate something on offense, down 20-6. Well, you've got Bill O'Brien, head coach, here now in the middle. Hoyer, who was at New England for 3 years, and there he was with Tom Brady, the understudy, coming out onto the field prior to a game and on the bench. And Hoyer said it was tremendous, just a great experience. Tom was fantastic, engaged him in the meetings and with advice and all the rest. And Brady telling us last night he loves the guy. He said he's great, and he's thrilled that he's had some success down here finally.
Yeah, and boy, did they have some fun with Bill O'Brien and his teapot temper, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Oh, boy.
That's another sack.
That's
here.
out.
And the ball is loose again. Sheared creates the sack, and then Malcolm Brown is there for the recovery. So you saw them working on Hoyer. Now he's slow and getting up again. And Triplett's going to discuss this.
Ball sheared one more time, this time back underneath Derek Newton. So this has really turned into a nightmare. Nobody can block Sheard.
Ruling on the field is a fumble. He wasn't down. Of course, they'll review it, but will stand.
I'm not so sure they haven't ruled that his knee was down. Yeah, but I'm not sure the ball's not out before that knee's down.
obviously being looked at. All turnovers are. That's the whole question right now. When does the ball come out?
Right there, and my opinion, a little bit before the knee went down.
Very
right
close.
there, that ball's out. So now the knee's down.
The hold-up play until.
Yeah, but they've already turned it over.
Well, for the moment, Triplett's just waiting. As they go over it back in Gotham. And now it is confirmed it is a fumble.
Boy, what a night for Sheard, huh?
4 sacks of Hoyer. And it's a 1st and goal from the 7-yard line. And Brady to the outside. And this is Amendola taken down at the 3-yard line. 2nd and goal.
You know, they just get the matchups they want. That time they get Amendola on the inside linebacker, but that guy right there, Jabal Sheard, has come over and caused all kinds of problems for Brian Hoyer tonight. And Bill O'Brien, they used to make fun of him and his temper. He said that Matt Light, where the Patriots used to whistle when they could see it was about to blow. He may be about to blow here because they are making a ton of mistakes.
Whistle like a teapot. And at the 2-yard line, Bolden is stopped there, so it's a 3rd and goal. At worst, with a field goal, they would turn this into a 3-possession lead on a night when the Texans have been able to get only 142 yards out of their offense in a little over 3 quarters.
Yeah, here come the little guys on the field, so a lot of receivers out there. We're going to end up with Gronkowski and Jonathan Joseph at the bottom.
3rd and goal. And they're going to run it. And right through the middle goes one James White for the touchdown. So once again, the Texans can't stop. A goal-to-go situation. Turn it over. Give Brady the ball at the 7. And they're up by 3 touchdowns.
Well, there are not many times that Brian Stork's going to throw a block where he gets driven straight back that it's going to end up being a good thing. Merciless that time just drove him right into Tom Brady, and he never saw White coming through. One of the things that they just didn't think they would get a lot of is James White running the football. When he came in the game, that triggered thoughts of pass, handed off. So don't ever think you know everything about what's going on with the Patriots.
Extra point by Gostowski is the 27th New England point tonight with 12:04 to go. 27-6 in favor of the reigning Super Bowl champs. Here's Hakeem Hunt. I'll take it on those things.
Deal. In LA.
Robert Kraft feeling a little bit better about things right now, even though that look doesn't show it. 27-6. So down 27-6. They start this drive with a Grimes run around the left side to the 19-yard line, tackled there by Mayo.
Boy, it's good to see Trod Mayo back making plays again. This defense has been unbelievable tonight. Houston had everything on the line in this game, playing at home, a lot of emotion, and this defense of Matt Patricia has just killed them. They have 13 first or second round guys on this defense, and they are playing like monsters out there tonight.
Texans have averaged only 3.4 yards per play tonight. Can't win with numbers like that. And that's flicked away. Hopkins, the intended receiver there, he's caught only 2 passes tonight. Logan Ryan has done a masterful job on him.
Sure has. And everybody on the defensive side, Ninkovich, just play after play. A lot of this is coming to Derek Newton's side, to be honest. Sometimes it's physical mistakes, sometimes it's mental mistakes, but there have been mistakes that way. Now Sheard jumps back inside and gets the sack fumble out of that. It has been a long, long night for this Houston offense.
And Hoyer flings one deep downfield, and And finally, Hopkins gets the measure of Ryan. He caught only 2 all night for 12 yards, and finally a bomb here for 41.
Well, you know what's happened? They went from helping with him. Now look what happened. They're not helping anymore. They go, why are we helping? Logan Ryan's killing this guy out there. Oh, here's why you help on that guy. I have seen him make some unbelievable catches this year. There's another one to put in the bank.
He's made some Odell Beckham type catches.
Sure has.
One-handed from the 41. And Hoyer deep down the middle, and again another drop here. Ryan Griffin.
It's about the same catch, wasn't it?
Right.
Another one that looked like he had in his hands and then sort of got knocked out by Chung at the last second. You see him coming right down to shoot at you here. I think he catches it, and then Chung comes over and gives him the tomahawk chop and knocked it out of there. Really not much you can do as a receiver on that one. Then he almost flipped it up in the air, and Ron Harmon almost came up with an easy interception. They are back to helping on DeAndre Hopkins again. Safety that way.
On the top of the screen. Chuck him at the line. And here is Grimes carrying the ball to the 33-yard line, setting up 3rd down and 2.
Yeah, and that's the right decision as a quarterback. The problem is you're down 27-6 now. They put 2 safeties back there to help both ways, and Hoyer goes, all right, my calculator tells me I'm supposed to hand off, and so they do. And still plenty of time. You still go down there and get a score here. Defense has been playing well. Oh, look at this formation. The diamond right.
It's the Wildcat again, and Shorts takes it, fakes a toss, and a little razzle-dazzle that turns into nothing. And the crowd lets him know it.
Yeah, we have not seen the Wildcat be overly effective. You get all of them out here, and it looks like this would be easy, right? Not so much. Just well played defensively right up front. Again, coming off the edge. Was that Chung again? I'll tell you, that Patrick Chung has had a really big year for this team. He has done a job in coverage that I don't think many people believed he could. And we all know what he can do playing the run coming down.
Obviously having to go for it on 4th down and 3. Bring the blitz. And Hoyer will go down to the 42, and there is no flag. Hakeem Hicks
must have grabbed a jersey
at the 38-yard line, and that will be another sack. I mean, Hoyer is really paying the price.
And he had a concussion earlier too.
Ball turned over on downs to the Patriots, up by 21. Once again, Hoyer being checked out by the medical staff. Backup quarterback is T.J. Yates. Got sacked to end that last attempted drive. And now Brady, well, he hands the ball off to Bolden.
Almost another one of those plays.
Tackle. He takes it out to the 40-yard line.
That was almost the play you showed, Al. He comes looping around the inside there, and I thought he was just going to decapitate. Who was this here, Bolden?
Yep.
Just missed. Bolden had a half a day. Clowney knew it. He jumped up in the air after the play like, oh, I had him. Well.
Yeah, Hoyer's going to go back to the locker room, so we're going to see Yates the next time they have the ball. It's 2nd down and 9. And Brady, ton of time, and finally a little pressure is put on, but that enables Amendola to get free. However, there is a flag on the play. Penalty marker all the way back at the 34. There was a 24-yard pickup.
Holding, 63 the offense. 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
The rookie guard, Trey Jackson, is Hoyer, goes back to the locker room to get checked out.
Here's the hit on Hoyer, going to see as he gets slung around here, and that's what I thought I saw was a face mask. Instead was just his helmet slamming to the ground. Had the concussion earlier, and something I'd never heard of before. He used acupuncture for a concussion, and I said, what they doing? He's putting needles between his eyes and his neck, and all. I said, why did you do that? And he said, my wife was breech they used acupuncture, and I saw the baby move, so they told me it worked for concussions. Why not? I took a shot.
New England Journal of Medicine should have that on the front page someday.
Number 61, the offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
It's Marcus Cannon, and there's Mike Vrabel on O'Brien's staff. Of course, the great linebacker through many years with the Patriots.
Talk about versatile. He was almost came out in tight end numbers by the end of his career. He was throwing a lot of big passes in clutch situations.
He's got a little bit of that O'Brien teapot in him too.
Yeah.
2nd and 25. Brady wide open. Gronkowski. He gets 25 and a lot more all the way to the 40-yard line. Some game time decision, huh? Gain of 36.
What do you do with him? I don't know. I don't know. He is, I think Josh McDaniels said it best. He said when Gronkowski walks in the huddle, there just aren't many guys that when you see that guy, I almost said that thing, but that guy walk in the huddle, everybody thinks they're going to win. Everybody thinks that the team is going to win when he's in the huddle. Brady probably has a little something to do with that too.
Just a little. 7 minutes to go in the 4th. First down. Brady, the line does a great job here. So does the secondary, but Brady's going to take off and slide to a stop after a gain of 15 yards.
Well, it all starts as it has all night. You double team J.J. Watt. Star players don't beat Bill Belichick, and this team got that locked down. Vince Wilfork blocked out of there, and even Tom Brady running. He caught a big pass last week, so why not build up his stats? But this has been a frustrating night, no question, for J.J. Watt. But he's not the first defender or offensive player been frustrated by Belichick.
Officially a 13-yard gain, and now Cushing takes Bolden down, and we go to Michelle.
Well, Brian Hoyer has gone back to the locker room for that concussion protocol. You mentioned he had a concussion back in Week 10, and he missed the following game. And I guess, Chris, he may be heading back to the acupuncturist if this turns out to be another concussion.
Yeah. There's the Bengal killer over there on the bench. T.J. Yates, every time he plays the Bengals, threw the game-winning touchdown pass, and the only touchdown they scored earlier this year to knock off the Bengals, beat them in the playoffs too.
Yeah, a few years back. Timeout is called. A little more from Michelle.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, actually just a week ago, I was able to go to the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center and tour their concussion program, which is one of the leading programs in the nation. And I learned a lot. In fact, one of the things I learned is that they have been able, through research, to determine that there are 6 different kinds of concussions that can be treated specifically for their own unique kind of conditions. And they didn't know that before. This has come with a lot of research through that program. So 6 different types can be treated different ways. And by the way, most people think that the best way to treat a concussion is to put someone in a dark room and have them rest for a while. In actuality, they say some of the best way to do it is with active stimuli, either physical or mental.
Very interesting. I mean, obviously the league knows it's a huge issue, has become so over the past few years, trying to do everything they can to make the game as safe as possible. But it's a difficult task. 2nd and 11, and Brady's going to go down again.
Guess who?
Clowney.
I mean, he's just tearing it up. This is one of those. I got some bad news for you, and I got some good news for you. The bad news is the Patriots are a lot better than you are for the Texans. The good news, watch what this guy's doing now. Jadeveon Clowney in the last 2 weeks, is that 3 sacks now? I know he had 1 against Buffalo. I think this is number 2 tonight. And that is a tremendous sign. And maybe J.J. Watt's going to buy him dinner tonight, because if he can start to take some pressure off of Watt and they can get it going off of both edges, Merciless has had a good game inside. That's what they hoped it would turn into. It just never did, because offensively they couldn't score any points.
Well, defense, not the issue right now for this team, which is going to go, in all likelihood, to 6 and 7. The Indianapolis Colts are pretty happy about that, because next week it's going to be Indianapolis against Houston, and then the winner of that game will be an undisputed possession of first place in the AFC South.
A lot of 6 and 7 teams in first place right now.
AFC South, NFC East. Here's White to the 35-yard line. If Indianapolis then wins the game next week, in effect, they would have a 2-game lead because they would have swept the season series. So that will be a vital game for the Texans because you're not going to have a wild card coming out of this division.
Yeah. That's a pretty good little trick play right there by Tom Brady. Did you see that one? Faking the screen one way and looked like he was going to go sidearm Kent to Colby style out to the screen, flips it around, goes screen the other way.
Very good.
Thank you. That's the only baseball guy I know.
Oh, Dan Quisenberry.
Yeah, that's good.
There you go. So Brady watching that clock go down on 4th down prior to a kick. And they take a timeout here with less than 5 to play. 21-point lead for the Patriots. Well, next week, New England's at home. It's their final home game against Tennessee. What about these guys? Easley out tonight. Blunt out for the rest of the game, obviously. Freeney and McCourty as well. So the question becomes, who's healthy next week? They're used to it. Allen to punt. With 4:53 to play. And a fair catch is called for and made at the 11-yard line by Cecil Shorts. So let's update the playoff picture now, assuming that New England wins this one as T.J. Yates comes into the game. So New England on top in the East. They would go to 11-2. Cincy and Denver both lose. And Houston, for the moment, they would go to 6-7. And Indianapolis would own the tiebreak at the moment. But the thing about New England, and what a day this has been for them, because Cincinnati and Denver both lose. When New England lost last week, had the season stopped on a dime at that point, they would have been the 3 seed because of the tiebreakers. Now, in one day and night, they'll be back as the number 1 seed. And of course, that means a bye on the road to the Super Bowl would go through Foxborough. And that's knocked away by Logan Ryan, intended for DeAndre Hopkins. So Yates, who was here, then he went to Atlanta, then he came back, and as Chris mentioned before, a Bengal killer.
Yeah, and he's got 1 win this year too over the Jets. So I mean, he has been a good clutch performer for him. He's just kind of a gritty guy, finds a way to get it done. If he finds a way to get this one done, we're going to put him in the Hall of Fame.
First ballot. That won't help get him there. That's Hakeem Hicks taking him down to the 7-yard line. Another Patriots sack.
Boy, this defense has some energy, don't they? For Matt Patricia and these guys, this has been some performance. Wife Raina expecting their 3rd baby on Tuesday. Congratulations to them. Chandler Jones trying to get inside, but it was Hakeem Hicks. They traded Michael Omanawinui to the Saints and got him back, and even that's working.
30-14. He almost gets sacked in the end zone. Instead gets it away, and this is Grimes out to the 11-yard line. 4th down.
Yeah, you wonder if you get a little Bill O'Brien teapot. That was a funny story there. They were all talking about it, that they had the little teapot in the quarterback's room, and Brian Hoyer and all the guys and Tom Brady, and when he got that look on his eyes right there where steam was rising, Matt Light would sit in the back and go the teapot was about to blow.
The instigator. Fair catch called for the 30. Well, here it is for you. So Brady and O'Brien, and a very memorable scene. Tom had thrown an interception, and there he goes. And who comes in? There's Hoyer coming in, trying to play the old Arthur McCanny role, 3rd man in the ring.
But Tom Brady, when we asked him about it, he goes, that was our method of problem solving. He said, I hate people that sort of beat around the bush and passive aggressive and all that kind of stuff. He said, I knew what he had to say. He knew what I had to say. It was over in an instant, and we moved on. That's just the way we solve problems when we were together.
Yep, and Tom had only very laudatory things to say about his years with Bill O'Brien. Bolden for a couple. Second and 9. 3 minutes to go. Here's Bolden. Very interesting thing, Chris, about New England. We talk about all these injuries tonight, and it's been the defensive side of the ball. But what are they going to do now if Blunt can't play? I mean, they've already lost Dion Lewis for the season. Blunt's their key guy. You've got Bolden and you've got White, but who's going to pound it?
Brandon Bolden's done a pretty good job of that tonight, but you know, they just have so many different ways to attack you. I thought it was very clever what they did. They watched that Buffalo tape, and they didn't have the kind of running game that would be able to take advantage of the same things that Buffalo did, but they created their own form of it out of the passing game and the wham blocks and some of the things that they did, and you just never saw those pass rushers get going early.
And here goes Bolden, breaking tackles, gets the first down. And that should take us pretty close to the end of the game, since they moved the change, and the 2-minute warning comes up in 4 seconds. 2 minutes to the finish line in Houston. 27-6 New England. It's a little kneel down by Brady. He'll just take the play clock all the way down, and they will get on an aircraft and head back to Boston.
Yeah, I don't think that there were major fears about the Patriots with the lead that they had, but a little bit of an exhale tonight for Patriot fans, I would think, after back-to-back losses.
Sure.
Just so atypical how they were losing those games with those 14-point leads, and you know, to see the mistakes that they were making. Another one tonight in special teams as well. So I'm sure the old special teams coach himself, Bill Belichick, will go back to work on that.
Well, 13 times in the last 15 years. They clinch a playoff spot tonight, but not the division crown yet. But if the Giants beat Miami tomorrow, that would clinch it. Not that Miami has a chance, but it would be a strength of schedule situation vis-a-vis the Jets, so they would clinch with a New York win, or obviously with a win in any of their last 3 games, or a Jets loss. And Brady will kneel down here, and that's going to take us all the way to the wire. So Brady 22 of 30 for 225 and a pair of touchdowns. 2 guys who worked together for 5 years with a brief hug. And the New England Patriots will go to 11-2 and would regain that #1 seed, at least for the moment, in the American Football Conference.